Um, Hello, everybody. Hope everyone can see and hear me okay. I am still filming from Miami, Florida, and I hope the lighting is okay. I am filming from my mom's house, and if you guys cannot see or hear me, please let me know. Um, Oh, thank you guys. I really appreciate all the thoughts. For those of you guys that don't know, unfortunately, my father passed away this past Monday. So my family is adjusting. It was quite, I can't say it was a shock. We knew that the moment was going to come. But as always, you're just really never ready. And you always want another 100 years, right? So my family right now is getting ready for the services and the funeral. The wake is going to be held on Sunday. His service and funeral will be this Monday. But I do want to say personally thank you to all you guys that have reached out to me and my sister. It has been really, really rough for all of us. We are adjusting, and trying to make the best of it. I did want to come live because this live does mean a lot to me, this channel and stuff. I like helping people. And last Friday, the last time that I did a quick live, I kind of did it off the schedule because I usually go live on Fridays at 8 o'clock. However, though, I was on the road to try to see my dad, who was being relieved, I believe, at that time. Um, was he? I think he was. He passed this past Monday. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I'm so confused with the dates, guys. I'm so sorry. So confused because I have been driving back and forth between Virginia and Florida. For those of you guys that follow me for a couple of weeks now, because my dad is really ill, and I know the last time I did a live, I was still on the road, and I was at a supercharger, and I was going to be on the road at 8 o'clock. So I did like a quick live just to give you guys an update of what was going on and stuff. And then I believe that other Saturday, I was unable to go live because I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. I know, okay, you guys haven't said anything like we can't hear you or anything. And I got my phone just in case someone can call me and say, hey, you're not, we can't hear you. So I know last Saturday I had to cancel the live because we had a lot going on, and this past Monday my dad passed. So I'll probably do. I was thinking about doing a video about the passing, because and what I kind of felt and everything, because I think that might help someone. But anyway, yeah, so life's been a little crazy. Okay, so it has been a little crazy, and I'm not really in my norm right now. I'm actually videotaping from my mom's and dad's bedroom because Fred went to Lowe's and we have been updating all her lighting and stuff because sometimes some of her bulbs have been going out. So I want to make sure that when me and my husband go back home, that we've done everything we could to possibly help my mom out in making sure that she's okay at home, even though I know she's going to be fine because my sister and her husband live nearby, and my sister has been really, really great in trying to help my mom out as best she can. So like I said, I'm out of my norm, but um, you know, I did come up with a topic for this week, and I thought I would talk to you guys about it because like I said, these lives mean a lot to me, and I wanted to, just keep at it, because things get better, right? And this really means a lot to me, and it's like me going back into my zone. Okay, so anyway, all right. So what are we going to be talking about this Friday? One of the things that I started thinking about is that we do a lot of embroidery, and sometimes I know in the past I've talked about different things you can do to embroider. I talked about like getting blanks. I talked about different projects, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that we really haven't touched on too much is about things that you can embroider that really are kind of profitable for your business. Now, of course, if you do embroidery for fun, it's still profitable also, because a lot of times when you're doing embroidery for fun, what ends up happening is you're kind of embroidering for gifts. So if you really think about it, that is pretty profitable, for the simple fact that if you were to actually go out and buy that gift somewhere else, you're going to be paying big dollars for it. Okay, so you're actually saving a lot of money by doing the embroidery yourself when you gift items. Okay, but I want to talk about some of the items that, if you're doing the embroidery business as a side, what are the ones, the top 7 that I thought about that could really be very profitable. At the same note, I also thought about what are the top 7 that could probably kind of hurt your margin a little bit, okay? And it can kind of make you go broke if you don't really watch these things. So I got little notes in here. So I went to Walmart. There's Walmart by my mom's house. So I went and I got a brand new notebook, and I said, you know what? I'm going to start jotting down my ideas. And then also I got a big one so that way I could jot down tabs of videos that I want to do for us in the future. So let's talk about the 7 profitable items that I think are really cool for embroidery. Okay, something that'll keep some money in your pocket. All right. The first thing that I put down is something that you probably hear a lot, and that is hats, baseball hats. Okay. Baseball hats are pretty affordable to get, especially if you get them on wholesale. If you get them on wholesale, you're probably going to be paying about like maybe $2 to $3 a hat. Okay. If you go to like a wholesale place, and especially if you have your embroidery business that you get your tax exempt. Okay, so that way you can buy items, supplies for your shop without paying sales tax. Okay, but you do have to charge the sales tax when you sell them to the customer. But hats are pretty big. Now, this is the reason why I think a lot of people also that I have talked to always talk about the hats. First of all, the thing is inexpensive to get. Okay, you're talking about buying a hat that's maybe $2 or $3, right? Also, you're not embroidering a lot, because if you really think about it, sometimes you're just embroidering like just a little logo or initials or something right in the front of the hat. Okay. Sometimes you can go a little more fancier. And if you do, what ends up happening is you can actually charge more. And that is when people are asking for the back of their hat to be embroidered as well. Like sometimes they'll have something embroidered in the front, and then they want their name or something embroidered in the back of the hat. And then sometimes folks will come out and say, hey, can you embroider something on the sides of the hat? That you can actually like do, but you can, charge for each of the sides that you embroider. And because the hat was so inexpensive, okay, you can make a big profit margin off of baseball hats. You truly do. And there's so many different ways that you can embroider a baseball hat. You can just do flat out embroidery, or sometimes some people will go and create a design, and they'll add 3D embroidery on top of a actual embroidery design. Okay. Now, if you have like a shopping mall by you, you might have a store that sells baseball hats like Liz. If you do embroidery, one of the things that I highly recommend you do is, if you actually see that store in your mall, stop in there. Go in there and take a look at their hats. And I don't know if all the stores, all the lid stores in all the malls are set up the same way. But when I went to the one in the mall by my house, when I went with my son, okay, because my son wanted to get a hat, when I was kind of like, I can make that for you, So anyway, he was looking at their hats, okay. And one of the things that I noticed was they had an actual embroidery machine right there in the store, right on the spot. And I was just like, oh, wow. So I found that very interesting. And then the guy was actually embroidering baseball hats. I was watching him do it, and I saw he does it the exact same way that we do our hats. Okay. He used a multi-needle machine. He used a hat. He had a hat driver, a hat hoop, and everything. And it was just embroidering great and stuff. So, and here's Mello. Mello is Boy, is abuela gonna kill you lying on grandma's bed. So anyway, just do a little quick cameo of Mel over here. Okay, so baseball hats, or if you go in there and you look, ask for the prices of those baseball hats, and you're going to end up finding out that each of those baseball hats, they actually sell them for like $45 to $50 one hat. And trust me, I know that some of those hats look like they're high quality hats, okay? And they're high quality, but you can get high quality blanks too. If you go to like Jiffy Shirts or some other wholesaler, and I bet you could get fitted hats just like they have, and you can go ahead and embroider just like they do, and you can get that $2 or $3 hat, and you could be selling it for $50 as well, okay? The thing is also to keep in mind is that hats, they're not like big embroidery spaces, okay? So they're probably quicker to embroider. Well, they are quicker to embroider, depending too on the design and all that kind of stuff. But there is a little bit of a downfall that you really have to think about when you're thinking about embroidering hats, okay? Hats can be difficult to do, okay? You really have to know the machine. You really have to know how to hoop your hat correctly in order for the embroidery to come out nice. But once you have mastered that, just like everything else in embroidery, if once you have mastered that, you can pump out those hats like no tomorrow. Okay, I mean, you could really, really make those hats. So, to me, it's like that is a quick win. Baseball hats are a big thing. You can sell them to so many different people. I mean, you can sell them individually. Okay, that's something that you can do just one or two, still make a good profit off of it. And then if you have like sports teams, or schools, organizations, or something like that that wants a logo on their baseball hat, and they order a whole bunch from you, that is some big money that you could be making right there. So just something to think about. So that's just one item that I thought would is really considered to me like a very profitable item when it comes to embroidery. Okay, this second thing that I was thinking about when I was thinking about what is it where I really make good money at is polo shirts. Okay, polo shirts are just the same thing. Now, they are a little bit more expensive than hats. All right, however, though, if you really think about it, with polo shirts, a lot of times businesses, what they want is they just want their logo to be on the a left chest logo, right? And a left chest logo is usually about 3.5 inches to 3.5 inches. So it's not a lot of stitching that goes in there. However, though, I do want to say one thing though. Logos can get pretty fancy. Okay, sometimes you can have a very simple logo where it's just a very small little image and then some little lettering. Okay, now, but you can also have some logos that are very detailed. Okay, and if you watch some of my videos in the past, you probably remember if you saw the women's club, that was like a patch logo that I had did on the embroidery. Make sure that when you are charging for those types of embroidery work, you are getting your money's worth. Like, for instance, if I have something that is very, very small, simple, where it's just a name and the logo, and let's say the stitch count is probably like 10,000 or below, then usually what I'll do is I just charge the minimum rate of $15 a shirt. Okay, because that to me is like I'm making good money off of it. All right. Now, I am talking about the embroidery service though, guys. I'm not including the price of the shirt, all right? If I'm including the price of the shirt, then trust me, it's going to be more than $15, all right? But let's say the embroidery is a big patch and it has a lot of details, there's a lot of stitching. Like for instance, when I did for the women's club, that was over 30,000 stitches. I usually charge $30 a polo shirt for that. Now, the reason why I do the $30 per polo shirt is because I do get bulk orders. That's not like, oh, just one shirt came to me. Usually when I get an order for those type of shirts, they're usually 5, 10, 15, or 20 shirts that I have to make at a time. Okay. Now, The other thing too, though, one of the things that I want to mention to you guys, the way I do things is pretty different than some of the other embroidery businesses do. You can do it one or two ways. Okay. You have some embroidery businesses. What they do is they say, hey, we provide you the shirt or the baseball hat or something like that. And they'll give you like a catalog or something for the customer to pick at. And then what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we'll buy the item, the blank, and then we charge you for the item, and we also charge you for the embroidery. I kind of work the different way. I kind of prefer, and that's just me, okay? And it depends too. And the thing is, let me show you how I work it, okay? I prefer the customer actually brings the blanks to me. The reason why is because I just want to charge for the embroidery. And I don't want to be the shopper. I don't want to go online and have to pick out all these different shirts with all these different sizes. And at the same time, sometimes what happens is when you are looking at shirts in a catalog, right? Sometimes even though the catalog will tell you the texture of the shirt, like it'll tell you that if it's a mixed blend, like if it's cotton with polyester, or if it's 100% cotton or 100% polyester, it'll tell you the blend. A lot of times customers will go ahead and they'll just pick something out of the picture. But when they actually get the shirt and they actually touch it and feel the fabric, and they kind of like look at it up and then they see how it hangs, they may sometimes like it or not like it. And then what ends up happening is you kind of like, I just feel like you waste, not, well, I don't want to say waste. Okay. Maybe I should watch some of my words here. Okay. But what ends up happening is you spend a lot of your time kind of like shopping for their shirts, right? And I kind of prefer for the customer to just go out, get the shirt that they want, and then they come and they bring it to me. Now, one of the things that a lot of people say is, well, Jeanette, when you embroider on cut, things that the customer bring to you, you can make a mistake and you can ruin it. And I got that, totally got it. Okay. But the thing is, I will only get things, I will only embroider on items that I know for sure I've done it in the past. Or if I haven't, I make sure that I make it clear to the customer that I'm kind of taking a risk here. However, though, I kind of put the risk on myself. And one of the things that I do tell customers, I always want to know where you got this item from. And I let them know that if I mess it up, I will replace it. I will do that. Okay. Now, if a customer comes to me with something, like I did have one customer that came to me with some dinner napkins, and the dinner napkins were kind of like in her family for a lot of years. And I guess they were like, a heirloom. And I think I finally got that word right. For the longest, I've been saying heirloom, but I think it's hair. Now I messed it up again. I think it's heirloom. Well, anyway, the item has been in the family for a lot of years. You guys know what I mean. Okay. So anyway, because it's been in a lot of years, this isn't something that I could just go online for order it from Target or Walmart or wherever and replace this item. Okay. So I had to turn that order down. So I am, if I can replace your blank, then by all means, I prefer the customer goes and gets the blank, because they can look at the shirt, they can feel the shirt, and they know for a fact that's the shirt that they want. Okay. And then what ends up happening is that all I have to do is digitize their stuff. And then all I have to do is charge them for the embroidery. I don't have to worry about the cost of the blank. It's on them, and all it is just me charging how much it's going to cost for me to embroider their item. All right. That's just how I do it. All right. Now, if the customer, and this is another thing too. Sometimes I have customers. I'm over here saying you'll have, but sometimes I have customers that come to me and they say, well, Jeanette, I want a polo shirt, but where would I buy it? Right. I don't want to go to like Target. I don't want to go to Walmart and stuff like that to get it. I have absolutely no problem letting them know about the places that I can get shirts from. And I give them the links and I let them do the ordering. And I say, hey, these are places that you can go ahead and order. One of the websites that I kind of recommend, because they're very good with the return policy, is Jiffy Shirts. And one of the things that I tell customers is, when you go and you order the different polos from them, I say just order one shirt from every polo that you seem to be interested in. When the polo shirts come in, you can feel them, touch them, and then you can see which one it is that you want. And then what you can do is stay with the one that you want and order more of that brand. And then the others that you don't want, just return them to the vendor. They're pretty good about that. And that way, they can be responsible for the type of shirts that they want. And this is the other thing too. Okay. Sometimes customers are pretty particular about a color. Okay. Like with the women's club, they were particular about the red. They didn't want it to be very, very bright, and that they didn't want it to be dull. So it was like a particular color red they were looking for. So because of that, I didn't have to get involved in any of that. All I did was say, check out Jiffy Shirts. And she did exactly what I told her to do. She ordered the different reds that they had. And then when she found the one that she wanted for her organization, she just went and ordered all of them. It kind of takes you out of the loop and it helps you does save time. Okay. So, just something to think about. So when it comes to the polo shirts, okay, they are a good money saver. All right. Because if their logo, all right. Now, if you, if you are, some people will come out and say, I want the logo, and then they want the back of it embroidered. That's fine. Usually it's just lettering and stuff like that. But to me, polo shirts, very, very profitable. So already I've given you two. I've given you the hats and I've given you the polo shirts. Okay. The third one also is kind of the same with the hats, are beanies. Beanies are very inexpensive to get. There's just a small amount for you to go ahead and embroider, like to do a logo or initials or whatever it is that they want. Very easy to hoop and embroider on. And there's two ways you can do it. Sometimes you can embroider right on the beanie, and then another thing you can do is you can create patches and just take the patches and sew them on the beanies. But they're very, very profitable. Okay. The fourth one, bags, tote bags. Okay. A lot of companies like tote bags. And sometimes, like I said, with the beanies, two ways you can do it. You can do it the exact same way with the tote bags. You can create a patch with the company logo on it, or you can just embroider right on the tote bag as well. Okay. Tote bags and duffel bags. Those are usually the two bags that are pretty, pretty popular. The fifth thing is names. Okay. If customers can come to you with items and all they want you to do is put that name, that is very profitable. Like I said, the minimum that I charge to turn on my machine is $15. Okay. I don't care if your name has two initials, one initial, whatever, it's $15. And $15 covers the stabilizer, my time to hoop it, time to turn on that machine, and all that good stuff. And if you really think about it, it's very, very easy with the names, because especially if you have a lot of fonts, all you have to do is just show the fonts to the customers that you have, let them pick the fonts. And usually those stitches of embroidering names on things, usually you're not going to be probably like more than maybe 10 or 12,000 stitches. It's very, very low. Okay. And stuff, but it also depends on how big they want their name too. So be very conscientious of that. And also depends on what they are asking you to embroider on. So for instance, okay, some of you guys have seen videos where people have bought me blankets, and some of the blankets were kind of like pretty furry. And then what ends up happening is I had to add knockdown stitches and embroider the name on top of the knockdown stitches. In those situations, $15 ain't gonna cut it. Okay, for the simple fact that it is more than 12,000 stitches. Okay, we're talking about knockdown stitches, bi-directional knockdown stitches. Okay, and also the font, and also how big it is, because you got to remember, the larger they want that name to be on that blanket or on that bag or whatever it is, that increases the amount of stitches. All right, so you got to be conscientious of that. Okay, but things, names, personalizing names, big money maker, big money maker. Okay, people love having their names on stuff. They really truly do. Okay, so six. Let's another big money maker. Okay, if you are embroidering for events like weddings, dinner napkins is like key. I am telling you, people, I don't know what it is, but people love cloth dinner napkins, especially when it comes to events like weddings. All right, they just love having the initials of like the bride and groom, and they actually just want the dinner napkins, and just like they give them as keepsakes. Okay, so usually what they'll do is they'll ask me to put like the initials and the wedding date, and they decorate their tables with those. So dinner napkins are really really big. Other events that are pretty big with embroidery is baby showers. Okay, there are a lot of people that will go out and they will go to like Birmingham Coat Factory or Macy's or whatever, and they'll just get all these like baby stuff, right? They get like baby blankets, they get bibs, they'll get like a little teddy bear, and they want to create like a personalized baby shower basket for the baby and stuff. So that is another big money maker. So another thing you can do is you can have the customer go out and buy all the baby items that they want to incorporate in their little basket. Okay, and then all you have to do is just charge them for the service for embroidering the items. Okay, so that is another big one. So that that's number six. Okay, now let's talk about number seven, sports teams. If sports teams, think of dance or studios and stuff like that, organizations. If you can get in touch with an organization and they need some embroidery, then you're golden. Okay, like I have done embroidery from some swim teams, and what it is that some of these swim teams have actually gone out and they have purchased their own little swim jackets. But what happens is all the swim jackets look the same. They all have the same logo. And then the kids start to like go home with the wrong jacket, or somebody accidentally picks up somebody else's jacket, all kind of stuff, right? So one of the things they do is they come to me, they say, can you put the name on the jackets for me? And I'm like, absolutely. So, I mean, because that is pretty quick to do, what I usually do is I just charge about like $15 to just do the name of the jacket. Another thing that people also ask me to do regarding these swim teams is sometimes these kids lose their towels like crazy, because sometimes what happens is like the organization will probably buy like a whole bunch of towels, and all the towels look the same. And sometimes kids can get kind of like, pretty picky, and they're like, nope, that's my particular towel. Because I know I was like that when I was a kid. When I used to get stuff, that I knew what was mine. Okay, I knew if my towel had like a little marking on it or something, and I didn't want no one to take my towel. It didn't matter that to other people was the same, but I wanted my towel. So anyway, sometimes what'll happen is the parents will come out and say, hey, can you put my child's initials on it or their names on it and stuff like that? Great moneymaker. Great moneymaker. I'm telling you. So if you can get your hands on, embroidering for like teams and stuff like that, you can make a lot of money on doing that. I really, really can, especially like a whole team, because you're probably talking about like sometimes about like 10, 15 kids or stuff like that, depending how big the teams are and stuff like that. So there goes seven. Okay. And I'm going to recap them again real quick. So you guys, just in case you got your little notebooks and you want to write them down. Okay. I said number one, hats. Number two, polo shirts. Number three, beanies. Four, bags and duffel bags, like tote bags and stuff like that. Five, items just to personalize, little things you can find around that you can personalize, baby bibs, blankets, stuff like that. Customers can bring them to you. All you got to do is just personalize it for them. Big money makers. Okay. Six, I put events like weddings, okay, dinner napkins and stuff. Dinner napkins is a big money maker. I'm telling you, you can buy a pack of dinner napkins of 12. Okay. And then what you can do is you can like buy all the dinner napkins and then just embroider them. Big money maker on that. Big money maker. and sports organizations. If you can get to a sports organization and you can do like like I was mentioning, the swim teams, they like to have their swim jackets embroidered. They like to have their swim towels. Let me give you another one that I wrote down here: dance studios. Okay. If any of you guys have like grandkids or daughters that go to the dance studio, that like to take dancing lessons and everything, a lot of them carry their ballet shoes, their tap dance shoes, all their stuff for dance class to go to the dance studio and stuff. Personalize a dance studio bag for them. You can put like a little ballerina on it, or a little lady doing the plie. I think that's the plie, when they jump up and they just spread their legs. I don't know. Well, anyway, Nancy took dancing classes when she was little. I didn't. I wasn't into that. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, put their name on those bags. I bet you if you go ahead and you embroider one, you're going to have somebody else that's going to come out and they're going to say, oh my God, that's a cute dance bag. Where did you get that? I make them. I sell them. Before you know it, loads of customers. They're all going to come out. I'm telling you, it'll work out, and stuff. So, all right. So now we talked about the profitable items. Okay. So while I was talking about those profitable items, I was thinking to myself, and it looks like Mello wants to go outside. Come on, Mello. Come here. Mello, come here, honey. Come on. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. Oh, no, that's my water. Okay. I don't want him to steal my water from me. Okay. So I also started to think about, when you think about making money, you also want to also think about what's not going to make money, right? Like where, what are things that can hurt you? So, Mello. I'm sorry about that, guys. So anyway, let me let him out, okay? Because he is a little bit. Mello, stop. All right, come on. Out you go. All right, go ahead. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I guess it's because he hears my husband and my mom talking outside, and my mom's house echoes. So I guess he wanted to go see what's going on. He's nosy. That's all it is. All right. So let's talk about the stuff that might not be so as profitable if you're not careful. Okay. I'm not saying don't do it. What I'm saying is you just have to be very conscientious of it. Okay. Number one, large embroidery designs. Large embroidery designs, as beautiful as they can look, they take a lot of time to make. A lot of thread, stabilizer, and let me tell you, most importantly, your time. Okay, because these are not quick stitches. They're not quick stitches. They are probably going to take an hour or more in order for you to embroider it. Now, a lot of times people want large designs on jean jackets, the back of jackets, maybe like hoodies, the front of hoodies. Okay. Sometimes they want them on shirts. Sometimes they want them on sweaters. Some people may come out and even ask you to embroider their jeans. It can be kind of big. Now, also, when I also mention large embroidery designs, I'm not really just talking about you got to pull out that big hoop. Okay. I'm talking about the amount of stitches, and also think about the amount of detail that goes into that embroidery. Okay. Because that is what's really going to suck up your time. And it can suck it up also depending on the machine that you have. Now, if you have a multi-needle machine, and you have all these color changes, it may not be that bad, but it still work. Okay. Don't fool yourself. Don't think that because you have 15, 20 needles that it's going to be beautiful. It's like, oh, this is great. No, because you know what? This is a thing that you're not thinking about. You're not thinking about the time that's going to take for you to set up that machine. Okay. Because when you put that design in there, you have to go through each of these needles and you have to set up the color for that needle. Okay. So the more colors you have in a design, the more of a setup you're going to have on your machine. All right. That takes time. So think about that. All right. The other thing also is that the details, all right, depending on the design, sometimes you can use 40 weight thread throughout the whole thing. Sometimes you may have to slow down your machine because the design requires metallic thread for certain colors. Okay. And in that situation, you're not only going to be slowing down your machine when it comes to that portion of the design, you're also going to be using a different needle. Okay. Sometimes also you're going to have little areas of designs that are going to require a different type of weight of thread. All right. Sometimes you can't use 40 weight thread for your whole entire design. And if you've watched the video where I worked on the polo shirts for the women's club, in there, I kind of talked to you about when you are creating a patch on a polo, when you have little details of designs in there that requires 60 weight thread, and some of the designs, some of the portions of that design require the 40 weight thread. And in some of the instances, when I'm using the 60 weight thread, I have to use a size 65 9 needle, okay, because it's very fine. And that's like when you're using very small fonts, you're going to want to use a 60 weight thread with a 65 9 needle. And then for the fills, you're going to want a 40 weight thread with a 75 11 needle. And if you add metallic in there, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use a metallic needle, or you want to use an 80-12 needle. And you also you're not going to you will want to slow down your machine. And another thing too, you don't just slow down the machine from a metallic thread. Sometimes when you are working in certain areas of your embroidery, you may want to slow down that machine as well. The reason is because if you rush the machine too much, because a lot of times people do that, they think that because their machine goes 1,500 stitches per minute or 2,000 or 3,000 stitches per minute. I don't know if there's a machine out there like that, but you can have trouble with your machine, because what will happen is the faster that you stitch stuff, you can run into the issue of a machine accidentally skipping a stitch. Okay. Or if it gets caught, it'll get caught real fast, and then, you can ruin your item. So, I personally like to run my machines at a slower speed than the max. Okay. Because I feel that the quality of the embroidery really comes out nice, crisp, and clean. Okay. So, large designs that require many color changes can take a very long time and stuff like that. And the reason why I say that is something that you have to be very conscientious of is because sometimes what happens is people don't price their items correctly. And then what happens is you kind of screwed yourself. You kind of really did, because now it's like you did all this work and you really didn't get paid what you should have gotten paid for. Okay. So large designs, just be conscientious of that. Okay. Number 2 is expensive blanks. What ends up happening is a lot of times people overpay for their blanks. All right. Because, they just don't know where to actually really get good blanks. All right. So what ends up happening is they'll go to a place where they sell blanks, and they'll actually pay triple the price for one shirt or one item, when if you really bought it wholesale and you bought it by bulk, you would end up paying about $2 to $3, or you would really, you would say substantially more. Now, there is a balance with this though. Okay. You got to remember that when you are buying from places like I get my shirts, and I do go to wholesale places. Sometimes you have to see if there's a wholesale place. Like I know there's one that lives near me where I can actually walk in there and I can get at a wholesale price one hat. But there are some sites out there that when you are buying bulk items, okay, for embroidery, and get those really good low prices, you have to buy the bulk. Okay. Now the bulk can be a different quality. Okay. Sometimes they have a different minimum. Sometimes the quality can be 10. Sometimes it can be 20, 50, 100. Just like when I get my baby blankets, I usually get, I think the minimum is 50, but I usually buy 2 or 300 of them at a time. And the reason why I do that is so that I can make sure I never run out. And then I just make this huge purchase of 2 or 300 blankets like twice a year. I do it twice a year. So, be very conscientious of, when you buy your blanks, because you got to remember, the more you pay for the blank, that's going to creep into the profit. All right. So a way to get around that though is don't buy the blank, especially if you're embroidering for people locally. Okay, if you are selling online like on Etsy, right? I'm You're kind of stuck there. You have to buy the blank, right? So I actually sell a lot of kitchen towels. I do the dinner napkins, I do the baby blankets, and I sell those off Etsy. Now I have to provide those blanks, okay, because they are buying the item, as they're buying the actual item with the embroidery. So I have to supply that. However, though, when I work with the customers locally, okay, business owners that come to me that want me to do their polos and stuff like that, I don't get in the business of buying their blanks. I prefer they buy their blanks. That way, when I go ahead and I do business with them, all I'm doing is I'm providing them the service of embroidery, and they pay for the embroidery service. Okay. So just be very conscientious of your blanks and how much you're actually paying for them. Okay. Because sometimes you could think that you're getting a bargain, and but sometimes you kind of aren't. And if this is something that you are selling constantly, you really may want to think about buying the item in bulk so that you can make sure that per item you're not paying as much. So something to think about. Okay, so that's the second one. The third one, small orders. Okay, let me take a little water here. Small orders. Now, what do I mean by the small orders? What I'm talking about is when you have a customer that comes to you and they say, "Hey, um, I just want a blanket, and I'll give you the blanket, and I just want you to embroider an initial," or something like that. Now, so usually that's not a big deal, but this is some of the things that I kind of sometimes see people do. Like they'll come out and they'll say, "All right, I'm gonna just charge I don't know, $1 a stitch or $1.50 a stitch, and then I'm gonna call it the day." You kind of messed yourself up when you did that, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because you are not charging for your time, and you have to, you are providing a service. So one of the things that I always say, okay, like I up my price, and the reason why I up my price is because a lot of prices went up for thread and all that kind of stuff. You have to think about the stabilizer you're using, the amount of thread that you're using, your electricity, the machine that's right in front of you, and stuff like that. Always have a minimal charge. So that way, when somebody comes to you with an item that really isn't a lot, you are still making a profit. Okay, so you can come to me and you can come to me with a blanket and say, "Jeanette, all I want you to do is embroider the letter I, and the letter I in 2 inches." I would be like, "Great, it's $15. It doesn't matter. That is my minimum charge for me to embroider anything." Some people don't have a minimum charge. So what ends up happening is people will go to you, go to them and say, and I don't want to say you, okay, but they will go to them and say, "Hey, can you embroider this?" And then what'll happen is they'll come out and say, "Oh, well, it was such a small stitch. I'll only charge you $5 or $6 or something like that." There's a downfall to doing that. The thing that I think about is it's great to help people, and it's great to give people a fair price and a good price. But to me, that's not a fair price, because a fair price means that they got a bargain and you also made a profit. you don't want to like give them such a low price that even though they got a bargain, now you just screwed yourself because you made no money, because you didn't really make any money. You, if anything, you may have lost money because you had to use the stabilizer, you had to use the thread, and it was your time. Basically, really did it for free. And there is a big downside to that. The downside is that that person, even though they left happy and they got that item, they know that great cheap price you gave them. You don't think that person is going to go to somebody else and say, hey, Jeanette will embroider those things for $4. Just call her. $4. That's all she's going to charge. And then you know what's going to happen? That means that whoever she told or he told, that word's going to go around, and you became the bargain embroiderer. That's right. You are now the bargain embroiderer. They know that you will embroider for pennies. They know that. And let me tell you something. Don't think that people don't know the value of embroidery. Okay? Embroidery is a luxury. Okay? It is a luxury. It is not, you want some cheap stuff? Vinyl. Go vinyl. Stick that sucker on with an iron and then let them wash that shirt for like 10 times and watch it peel off and crack. Now, I'm not saying that old vinyl's bad, okay? But embroidery is a luxury item, okay? And if you are doing it and you are selling it for pennies, people are going to know. And they're going to talk. And then what's going to happen is everybody else is going to expect that same deal. And you just messed yourself up. So be very, very careful with the small orders. I'm telling you, be very careful with them, okay? Trust me. You don't want to be that embroiderer, the bargain embroiderer. You don't want to be that. You don't. You know what you want to be? You want to be the embroiderer that they know they can go to and get a fair price and good quality work. That's what you want to be known for. That is exactly what you want to be known for. Okay? And number 4, which kind of goes with the small orders, the underpricing. Okay? Because that's what I'm talking about when we're talking about small orders. You're underpricing yourself. Be careful, because then you're going to end up working for free. And you're not just going to work for free for one person. You're going to work for free for a lot of people. Okay? Now, number 5, something that a lot of people don't think about. Okay? Digitizing costs. There are a lot of digitizers out there. Okay? Everybody claims to be a digitizer. All right? And I don't know if you guys notice in Facebook, every time somebody comes out and asks the question, hey, I'm looking for a digitizer. It's like everybody swarms out of nowhere and it says, inbox me. And they'll start showing work and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, you got to be careful with digitizer, all right? Because you want to make sure that whoever you use to digitize is actually digitizing good quality files. Okay? Anybody can practice and say, now I'm a digitizer. You want somebody who knows what they're doing. The other thing you need to do is make sure you have a list of good quality digitizers that you are working with. Not one, a list. I recommend having at least 2. The least 2. Okay, I usually have a list of 4. All right. And you got to make sure that you understand how to work with them. Okay. Make sure that you have a good business relationship with them. Make sure that the digitizer that you're using is somebody that communicates. There are so many people out there that are willing to take your money and they will digitize a file and poof, you'll never hear from them again. And if you need any type of little tweaking or modification to your file, you're gonna look, it's like they're gone. They just disappeared. So your money go, okay? And you couldn't even use the file. So be very, very careful. The thing is, you want not just a digitizer, okay? Because just like your customers are looking at you and what they want is quality embroidery, you want a quality digitizer, and you want someone who knows what they're doing, okay? Someone that you can have a communication conversation with, okay? Someone that you can talk to and say, this is the design that I have that I want to get digitized. This is the weight of the thread I'm going to use. This is the size needle. This is the type of fabric that I'm going to be using. This is the size I need. And I need you to pay attention to these particular special details of the design. You can have a conversation like that with your digitizer, then you're golden. And someone that responds and everything like that. So be very careful with the digitizers. Another thing too is digitizers can get very greedy. So watch the pricing. Now, sometimes people go to digitizers because they say, oh my God, they only charge me $10. They only charge me $10. But did you get a good quality file? Sometimes you get what you paid for. And then sometimes it can go also the other way. Sometimes you can have digitizers that be asking for a whole lot of money when I'm like, are you crazy? I know I can get this done cheaper. You know what I'm saying? So, and you got to understand their pricing. Understand digitizers' pricing. Okay, not all the digitizers price the same, just like not embroiderers price the same. Okay, sometimes you got to ask them, what is your price structure? Okay, do you do it by size? Do you do it by color changes? Do you do it by the details of the design? Because naturally, you also got to respect their craft. Okay, if they have a design that is, you're giving them a design that has a lot of details in there, okay, they have to transfer that into a file for you to be able to embroider with. You don't just want it to look crappy, okay? So that takes time. It takes time for them to digitize. So you got to respect their craft. But at the same time, too, you don't want them, you don't want to be a sucker either. So understand, talk with the digitizers, get an understanding of their pricing structure, how they actually price their items, when you asking for digitizing. So that way you kind of know, what you're looking at. And at the same time, too, when you are getting files to get digitized and everything, you know exactly what type of price structure to give to your customer as well. Because you got to remember, you're not paying for the digitizing. Your customer is paying for that. So you want to make sure that, they have that thorough understanding of how actual files get digitized and the cost involved in them. All right. Now, number 6, this is something that I kind of say is pretty something you really got to pay attention to your customers. Okay. Not all customers are good customers. Okay. And one of the things that I notice is that sometimes, and I understand you're running a business to make money. Okay. But you got to be careful who your customers are. All right. I don't like I don't know how to say this, but I think it's problematic customers. Customers that I know are going to be an issue. Right away, I will come out and say, I'm not the embroiderer for you. I have a friend who does painting, okay? And he picks his customers just like I do, okay? And it's just like I used to tell my employees when I was working in the Marine Corps and, when they wanted to, find another job and stuff like that. One of the things I always told people is when you go to a job interview, they're interviewing you, but at the same time, you need to be interviewing them because this is going to be your potential boss. So you want to make sure that you watch their posture. You watch how they talk to you. Are they looking at you in the eye? Do they seem like they're confident? Do they seem kind of wishy-washy? Are you feeling any kind of way? Do you feel comfortable at the job interview? If you don't feel comfortable in the job interview, you don't want to work there. Okay. So that is one thing that I always tell people, because people always say you go to job interview to impress them. No, they need to impress you too. Okay. Because you're there to get a job, but at the same time, you're there because they need some type of service from you. So it's a relationship. That's how I see it. Okay. That's how I've always done all my jobs. Okay. And I have no problem walking out in the middle of an interview going, this ain't for me. And I do the same thing with my embroidery business. Okay. If I have a customer that I feel that is really difficult or kind of snarky or whatever, I'll just say, you know what, this isn't going to work out. Okay. Don't be afraid to do that. All right. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you have a gut feeling that this transaction isn't going to work out, okay, and it doesn't work out, guess what? That customer is going to talk about you like a dog. Yes, they are. They're not going to mention how difficult they were. They're not going to talk about how they couldn't make up their mind about what color thread. And they're not going to tell people that they told you one size, and then they expected another, or that they bought you the wrong fabric shirt, or that they told you to put it in the wrong spot. They're not going to say any of that. What they're going to say is that you are not good at what you do. They're going to say, stay away. So avoid that. Avoid that. Okay, this is your business. You got to take care of it. You got to take care of your reputation. If you see a job and you don't feel comfortable taking that job, don't take the job. Don't take the job unless you have a heart-to-heart conversation with this person and say, I will take the job, but know that there's a risk. Are you okay with taking that risk? Okay. And if something bad happens, what do you want the solution to be? How would you like us to work it out when it happens? Don't wait till stuff happens and then you come out and say, oh God, how are we going to fix this? Have that conversation in the front. Okay. Talk with them. All right. Remember, this is your business, not theirs, yours. This is your bread and butter. So they don't tell you how to run your business. You tell you how to run your business. Don't ever be afraid to turn down an order. I see it all the time. People come out and they say, oh God, I got this difficult customer. What do you mean you got a difficult customer? Why would you want to deal with that? You're supposed to be enjoying what you do. You're supposed to enjoy embroidering. You're supposed to love that stuff. Why would you allow a customer to come in and take your joy away? No, that's not going to happen to me. I tell you what, I'll be like, oh no, this isn't going to happen. No. So I'm just saying, think about that. Just think about it for a little bit, okay? Some people may disagree. Some people may disagree with me and say, no, Jeanette, you have to service everybody. Okay, then you do that. You service everybody. But you know what? I love having customers that I appreciate, that I know value me, respect me, and I respect them. Okay? Like I'll give you another example. Okay? Let's say you have a customer that comes in and comes out and says, this is the embroidery that I want. And the way I do my pricing is fair. And I also explain to the customer why it's at a certain price, because I never want people to think that I'm taking advantage of them. That's not my thing. My thing is to make sure that I am pricing something fair for me and also for them. I'm not there to rob them. Okay. Even though I know there's some people out there that they will have outrageous prices when it comes to embroidery. That's not my intention at all. My intention is to be fair to both parties. However, though, when I give them the price and I tell them all that's involved and all I'm going to do and everything like that, the one thing I will not do is allow a customer to undercut what I tell them the price is going to be. If I tell them this is the price and they say, oh, well, I can get it half a price somewhere else, then I tell them, oh my goodness, that's wonderful. You need to go there. You honestly do. You need to go over there and get that price. Girl, go. Good luck. That's it. There's no discussion. There's nothing to talk about. I'm just not doing it for the simple fact that I'm not going to allow somebody to dictate to me how to run my business and how to price it. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Now, I know some people might disagree, but I'm just saying, sometimes you got to have, like what us Latinos say, you got to have some cojones. You do. You got to have it. You just got to put your foot down somewhere, because if not, then what ends up happening is everybody's going to walk all over you. Okay. Something to think about. Anyway, okay. The other thing, this is number 7. Things that can mess you up is not investing in your skill set and the business. Okay. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that as you are embroidering, you need to make sure that you are getting better and better and better in your skill set. If you're not getting better in your skill set, if you don't see that your embroidery is really improving, then it's not gonna, you're not gonna get to that next level. You really aren't. Okay. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to reinvest money that you make into your business. Get better machines, get better threads, get more hoops, do more marketing, start your branding. Okay. Don't be afraid to register your business on Google Ads and Yelp. Have customers put your stuff out there, like reviews and all that kind of stuff and everything. I got to get better on that myself. But you got to reinvest in yourself. Okay. That is one way that you can really start to go downhill, because the thing is, as you are not in reinvesting in yourself, believe me, your competitors out there are. And they're going to start doing some amazing things with embroidery, and then you're going to be left behind because all you did was say, okay, I'm just going to do personalized names. I understand it's your business and you're going to do however you want to, but you got to remember, you also have to grow. You have to grow, you have to expand, and you also have to be able to do different types of embroidery for that, so that your customers have more options. Okay. So, guys, those are my 7s. Those are my 7 most profitable, and those are my 7 that could help kind of make you lose money if you don't do it, so anyway, so I hope you guys like that. So as always, did I have an hour? Okay, right on an hour. Okay, so right as I finished my hour, now it's time for me to go to the chat, say hi, you guys, and answer any questions and stuff like that you guys have and stuff. And then we're going to be calling it the night. And next Friday, I definitely will be back home in Virginia in my sewing room. And I'm hoping life can just get back to normal. It's not really going to be normal because, I'm going to miss my dad, but it's okay. But it'll be a little bit more, get there. We'll get there, it's so I'm going to scoop up here and I'm going to hit the chat. Okay. So, and, say hi to you guys, all that kind of stuff and everything. So I see Karen. Hey, Karen. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, Renee. I see Embroidery G. Thank you for the love. Hey, Miss Banks. I miss you guys too. I really do. I really miss doing these lives, because I have to be honest. I love these Friday nights. I really, really do. I like sharing information with you guys, things that I be thinking about when I think about the embroidery. I already wrote down a list of new videos that I want to put out there for you guys. But of course, I can't film anything right now. But when I get back home, I will be. So I really do enjoy it, and I really do miss you guys. I really do, because I kind of feel like we're kind of like an embroidery family and stuff like that. So I see, let me see. I see, hey, Jackie, big hug to you too, hon. Hey, Robin Quilt Basket. I see Leslie. Thank you so much. Hey, Crafty Puerto Rican. Hey, Joanna. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, Becky. Hey, Tammy. How are you? Oh, thank you so much, Joanna. Appreciate that. Hey, Marlene. I see Marlene on there. Let's see. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Linda. Hey, Deborah. Debbie. Hey, Iris. I see Mag Jean, Design, Susan, Kim, Linda. Thanks, guys. Hey, Eartha, Debbie. Hey, so we too, Berlin. How you doing, Shirley? Oh, thank you so much. Thanks. Um, hey, Everjean. Hey, Kelly. Oh, thanks, Alicia and Iris. Hey, Sassy. Hey, Annette. Bass. Hey, Barbara. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Everyone's like, oh, so sorry for your loss and stuff. Yeah, and I miss my dad a lot. I miss my dad a lot. And the other day, I went to the supercharger yesterday and I was going on my iPhone and I found a voicemail message from my dad the last time my dad called me and I heard his voice. And when I heard it, I was like, "Bleh!" Start crying. I got all emotional because I was like, oh my God, it's my dad's voice. And I made sure I saved it. So I figured, it and so that I could hear his voice whenever I want. Yeah. So that was that. That was like, I was a supercharger and I was crying like a baby, because I was like, oh my God, that's my daddy, and he kind of cracked me up a little bit too, because he was like, his voice was like, hey, Jeanette, this is Nelson. Instead of saying, hey, Jeanette, this is your dad, he said, it's me, Nelson. I was like, okay. My dad was funny like that. But anyway, yeah. Hey, Annette. Hey, Bass. Hey, Barbara. Um, Oh, Embroidery said, I agree, Jeanette. Hats are probably the most profitable, but they are the most frustrating at times. And they are the most far, but you got to know how to do them. And what's really funny is I feel that sometimes people think hats are the easiest. And actually, they really, really aren't. You got to know really what you're doing, especially how to hoop it correctly. I remember when I got my multi-tool machine, it took me a while to learn how to put that hat driver on the machine and how to actually hoop the hat correctly for that machine. Now that I actually know how to do it, now it's like simple, right? But just the very beginning was pretty rough. And but once you have it and you got it down pat, you're golden. Then you're good. You can embroider. But hats are pretty, they are a big one and stuff. Oh, everybody's saying hi to Mello. Hey, Becky. Yeah, Mello's gone. He's with my mom and Fred out there and stuff. Let's see. Oh, but they sell. Not my favorite thing to do, but seems to be all I sell. The hats. Yeah, hats are big. Hey, Susie, thank you so much. Um, let's see what else we got here. Hey, Kathy. 600 hats and 300 patches. Patches, you know what, Annette? Thank you for mentioning that. I'm gonna highlight you if you don't mind. Patches. Patches are not that, they're pretty profitable. You know that? I mean, I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot. Thank you, Annette, for putting that in there. Because I think I did mention some patches, but I did not mention having patches as just creating patches to sell. That is pretty profitable also. So thanks for mentioning the patches, because it just, I know I mentioned it like sew on a patch, but selling the patches itself, that's pretty profitable. Like you can do, like, I think Girl Scouts are pretty big with the patches and all that kind of stuff and everything. So if you can find an organization that just needs patches and everything like that, man, you can make some money off of that. You really, really can and stuff. Hey, Karen, how are you? I mean, Kathy, how you doing? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I see Judy. Um, So nice to see you and Mel. Oh, thank you so much. It really feels good, Judy, to be back. And I got your card. Thank you so much. Yeah, it really does. It feels to feel good to be back online. It really does and stuff. I kind of want my life to go back to normal. I love the time that I'm spending with my family. It really sucks though that things turned out the way they did. But it's okay. And I know my dad's not suffering anymore, so it's fine and stuff. For you guys don't know, my dad had leukemia. He had leukemia for 7 years, and he was doing fine. But then he ended up getting some more complications. He got some infections on his leg. And he had some other complications that happened, and it got to the point where it was very painful for my father. And he did the best he could. And it was time for him. It was really time for him. And of course, when you love your dad so much, you don't want to let go. But I knew in my heart that it was time, and I was okay with it. And we stayed with him to the very end. Me and my sister Nancy, we took turns spending the night with him at the hospital. And yeah, and then last Monday, June 5th, he passed away in the morning. So it was hard. It really was hard. So but I know that he's in a better place. He's got his wings, and it's going to be okay. Now I'm more concerned with my mom because they've been married for 50, she tells people 57 years, but it's 56 because I turned 55 this year. So I know she's married 56 years. So, but she tells everyone 57. So I just go, okay. I'm more concerned with her because that was her best friend. And they had a very healthy marriage. Me and Nancy were very, very fortunate with them because, like sometimes you hear people say, oh, I had a very traumatic childhood experience, and I'm not saying our lives were perfect, but it was kind of fun. We had fun parents, and my mom and dad were literally best friends. And my mom's gonna miss them a lot. I know that. So I think what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna have to make more trips out here, spend time with her, and make sure she's okay. But she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine. It's gonna take time for her to adjust. Not having the old man around, to pick on her and make her laugh and stuff like that. So, but I know we're gonna be okay at the end of the day. So, yeah, we got each other, and we still have my dad. He's just flying around. That's how I see it. When people pass, I just feel like they're just flying around. They turn into guardian angels and stuff. So if you really think about it, now I'm kind of like a little bit like I was telling my sister, yeah, now I feel like dad's watching me all the time. Like before when people were alive, you kind of like get away with stuff because they don't see you. Now I feel like he's a spirit, and now it's like I really got to watch what I do because dad sees everything, Dad turns into a stalker, So yeah. So it's okay, but we're gonna be fine. We are and stuff. Jeanette, that's a nice idea to have their own blanks, and that way, yes, Annette, it really is. I mean, it does help. For me personally, I feel like when you have the customers bring their own blanks, you have less of a stress thing to worry about. Okay. And especially if you know where they bought the blank from. If you screw it up, then it's like, okay, well, you replace it, right? But and if you have to replace the item, okay, I kind of look at it like, well, all right, I didn't make any money if I had to replace the item. However, though, you kind of, to me, I look at it like I didn't let the customer down, and I still produced a good quality product. And chances are the customer is going to return, and they're also going to talk well of you and your business. Okay. They're going to say, you know what? She's really, really good. She messed it up. If she went out of her way, she replaced it. And so, like, it's fun. And you can always get a Peggy stitch eraser too, and sit down there and undo all those stitches and restitch if you can, So, it always works out. Let me see. Let's see. Do you create contracts for customers that give you the garment? What happens if a big ticket item, do you buy it yourself or do you have the customer pay for it? Okay, JC Productions. I don't do contracts with customers. Usually, well, let me backtrack, okay? This is usually how I do it, okay? I meet with the customer, I gather all of their requirements. Once I gather all their requirements and I give them their estimates and they said they're good to go, usually what I do is I give them an invoice. Now, in the invoice, I put in there in detail what the service they're going to get. I'll put in there that the customer provides the product and all that kind of stuff and everything. And that is usually the contract. Now, I always do tell them, if I mess up your item, I will replace it. Okay. So in those situations, I don't really have an issue. The only thing is that they just have to tell me where they bought it from, so that way I can replace it. All right. Let me see, make sure I answer all your questions and stuff. Do I create the contracts for the customers? In a way, I guess you could say, JC, that I kind of do, because the invoice becomes the contract, okay? Because I do put in there to read the invoice in full, okay? And once they have to send me full payment, okay? I don't take partial payments or anything like that. Once I receive the payment in full, okay, and they approved it, that's an approval, okay? And then I could go ahead and I could start embroidering, okay? Big ticket item, do you buy it yourself or do you have the customer pay for it? I have them usually pay for it. And I'll give you an example of that. Like, I had a construction company that wanted me to do their jackets, I think it's card lock jackets, something like that, really thick construction jackets. I had them provide me all the jackets, okay? Because those jackets are about $150 pop, okay? They were fine with it, and they ordered all the jackets. I've also have worked with some of the hospitals by me, where I have the nurses or the doctors come out and they say, hey, I want you to embroider the doctor's jackets or the nurses' scrubs and stuff like that. They actually provide all the items, but I don't think those are really like big ticket items. The big ticket items that I have worked on were like the jackets, okay? And they provide me the jackets. If I screw up the jacket, I buy the jacket. Okay, then I'll just tell them that they need to order another one, and I take it out of my pocket. Okay, thankfully, I've never screwed one up. Okay, I have never screwed up a jacket. I've always been able to do it. In that, my whole family would have been wearing those card lock jackets. Okay, and knowing me, I probably would have just created a patch or something to sew on top of whatever I screwed up on that jacket. That's probably what I usually do. Because what happens is, when I replace it, because I replaced it, I actually keep the actual item. And a lot of times, you can kind of fix it. You can put a patch over it or something like that. And I've done that, and stuff. But usually with that, that's what I do, JC. So I hope that kind of helps and stuff. But another thing too, JC, is when you're dealing with that kind of stuff where the item is high price, make sure you ask the customer where they bought it from, or have that conversation with them and say, if let's say, because accidents happen, okay, mistakes happen, we're people and those are machines, right? Sometimes machines go a little belly up and go crazy on you, and sometimes you could accidentally put in the wrong color thread or something, because you're human, right? So you just tell them and say, hey, if a mistake were to happen, how do you want us to move forward resolving this, right? I have no problem replacing the jacket. Would you be able to give me the website as to where you ordered it from? Or would you like for me to let you know that I screwed up that jacket and you don't want to have it replaced, and maybe you just want me to deduct the price of that jacket from the from the money that you paid me for, and I'll refund you that money, stuff like that. You could do it separate, different ways. What is really important, JC, is that you have that conversation with the customer and ask them how they want to resolve it if it happens. That's really what's important. Okay. And so that way, when something does happen, you guys already had that discussion and it's not a big deal. But if you're really good at what you do, you'll be fine. You'll be fine and stuff. Oh, and that says that she hated doing hats and stuff. How would you charge? How would you charge me for a client who'll give you 10 different names on a very thin decorative scarf or one color scarf? I charge $12 a name. $12 a name is not bad. Usually this is how I do it, Jay-Z. Well, first of all, $12 to me, it's not gonna work. Okay. My flat fee is $15. That's what I would do. I would just say 15 because that's my price, okay, to hoop anything. Now, one of the things that you mentioned, you said names on a very thin decorative scarf. Thin, got to be careful with puckering, okay, but I'm sure you're doing it. You just have to make sure that you stabilize that correctly so that you don't pucker, and you got to make sure you pay attention to that font that you're using also. Sometimes the font design itself can cause some type of puckering. But yeah, if your flat fee is $12, then I don't care how long or how short that name is. If your name is Sam and it's only three letters, it's still $12. And the reason why I say that is because you're still stabilizing, you're still hooping, and it's still your time. And you still have to create the file, right? So, to me, it's a flat rate, and I let them know. I have a flat rate of $15 for those types of particular items. That's what I usually do. Okay. Now, if they give me something that's in bulk, okay, I may knock off maybe a dollar or two. You know what I'm saying? Because you're asking for 50, right? That in that situation, I'll probably lower it just a little bit, but not that much where they're getting it for free. Do you know what I'm saying? Now I got Mel that wants to come in. Okay, so but I hope that answers your question and that helps out and stuff. Hey Karen, reunions. She talks about reunions. That's another great thing to embroider. I see Iris mentions Sweet 16s. That's another great event that you can do. Hey Shirley, hey Valentina. Oh, I'm glad you like the tutorials. I appreciate that. Hey Annette, letter jackets are good to add the name inside the linings. Make it easy to embroider. There you go. And Marlene says, my last client ordered 14 backpacks for the cheerleading team, and she liked to get print instead of embroidery. She stated as soon as I stated doing that she'll get it done with me. Okay. Yep, association, fire departments, and all that kind of stuff. And embroidery, Jean, those associations usually have like patches and stuff. And once you have their patch down pat, you can do it on jackets, you can do it on sweatshirts, you can do it on hoodies, you can do it on hats, you can do it on bags, pouches, and stuff like that. I mean, it's like it's endless. It really is endless. And so like that. Graduation, that's another great event that is usually up there. Needle for embroidery confuses me. Annette, the type of needle that you need to use. All right, I'm trying to make it a little simple for you, okay? When you are embroidering small fonts, because the fonts are very small, it's going to be very difficult to read, right? So one of the things that you want to do with small fonts is you want to use thread that is 60 weight. 60 weight thread is thinner, okay, than a 40 weight. And when it starts to stitch out, it's going to look nicer. Now, in order to stitch out with 60 weight thread, you're going to want a size needle of a 65.9. The reason why you want the 65.9 is because you got to remember needles poke holes in fabric, right? And you don't want a needle that's going to poke a big hole inside the fabric. So with small fonts, you're going to want that 65.9 needle with 60 weight thread. And then for regular embroidery, you can use a 7511 needle with 40 weight thread. So I hope that helps a little bit. I know it can get a little like that, I know it can. So, but as the more you do embroidery, Annette, everything is going to click, and then you're going to be like golden. You're going to be like, oh, this is easy. I'm the master of embroidery now. So trust me, you will get there. You will get there. Hey, Christian, how are you? Hey, Barb, how are you? See, this is another thing too. See, everybody does pricing differently too. That's the other thing too. So don't think that one pricing structure is good. You have to do what works for you. This is what Barbara does. She says, I build the color changes and the thread weight changes into the pricing. I have the machine set up with first needle at 40 weight, 2 to 7 ballpoint, 8-5 needles with sharps. So in other words, when she means by 2 to 7, it means that needle, her needle on her machines, okay, like she has a 15 needle machine. So needle 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is a ballpoint needle. And then needle 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15 is a sharp. Okay. And so that's the other thing too. There's ballpoint and there's sharp. And you got to know when to use those needles. Okay. What type of needle that you're going to use and stuff like that. And everybody does different. Some people put in, a lot of people that have single needle machines, they will incorporate color changes into their pricing, because you as soon as the needle stops, you have to take out that color and put in another color. When you're done with that color, take it out, you put in another color, and vice versa, and vice versa, and vice versa. So that's a lot of work. So it's important that you make sure that you're incorporating all that work. Okay. And so a lot of people do different. Okay. And then Barbara says she doesn't run a dual head multi needle or two. She runs. Okay, sorry. She runs a dual head. Let me put you because I'm like that. Okay. She says she runs a dual head multi needle, and a dual head multi needle, for those of you guys don't know, it's a embroidery machine that has 2 heads. Okay. So what happens is both those machines are embroidering at the same time. And then she also runs 2 single head multi-needle machines, which means that one machine has 2 heads, and then she has the single machines, right, that are multi-needle, but they're just 1 head. Okay. And so girl, you got yourself a shop going on in there. You go, Barb. You go, Barb. Hey, Karen. Oh, thank you, Karen. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you really liked the information that I shared with you guys today and stuff. Oh, thank you, Evelyn. I appreciate it. Thanks, Terry. I always hear everyone talking about digitizing. How does that work? Do they send you it on a USB, or you find someone local to you? Hey, Annette. Okay, I usually have this is usually what happens. Okay, with the digitizers that I work with, usually what I'll do is I'll email them the image, and then they will go ahead and they will design they will take that image and they will convert it into an embroidery design. They will send me a picture of what that design will look like at a stitch out. And if I like it, then I go, okay, I want to get it. And then what they'll do is they'll send me an invoice. I pay the invoice. And then once I pay the invoice, they will email me the digitized file. Okay. That's usually how it works. Okay. They don't send you a USB drive or anything like that and stuff. It's usually done by email. That's how I usually do it. Okay. Oh, Christian, thank you so much. Thanks, Sylvia. Appreciate that. Oh, thanks, Terry. Appreciate it. Yep, Angela kind of described the same thing. That's how we do it. And digitizers are really great. I really recommend though that you guys have a list of several people that you work really well with. Okay. And talk to other people that do embroidery and stuff and ask them, who do you use, because I'll tell you what, if I have really good digitizers, which I do, I have a list of digitizers that I use that are really, really good. And people do reach out to me and they do ask me, like, who does your digitizing for you? And I'll recommend. I send recommendations all the time. Okay. So, talk to other people and see who they're using and stuff like that. That's really the best way to do it and stuff. Let's see. You're not in the industry since the pandemic. Now everyone wants to be an embroiderer. Everyone has a machine or two, or recall Matt. Many companies are giving finances. Where do you see the over the night embroiderers? You see many machines on Facebook Marketplace being placed, and people don't know what they're doing. Where do you see the industry? You've been in the industry before the pandemic. People just started recently. What's your feeling? I meant to say sorry. That's okay, JC. This is really my feeling about what's going on. I have been doing this before the pandemic. I actually have been embroidering and sewing and all that kind of stuff. I actually started doing it because my son, like, went to college, right? So we became empty nesters, right? And I'm going to be retiring soon, so I wanted to start a second career. So, but a lot of people, you are correct. Since the pandemic hit, a lot of people got stuck in the homes, and then people started looking for different ways to, kind of make money on the side. Now, how do I feel? Where is this going to go long term? Usually, this is how I see it. It's going to be, you're going to have one or two types of people. Okay. You're going to have people that were just looking for that little side hustle, and people, that really aren't that serious like they were at one time. But then now it's like their passion usually kind of dies down, and then they're kind of like not gonna make it there anymore. Right. So you're probably gonna see, those are the ones that you're gonna see that went and bought a machine, and then they're going to be selling them. And I don't know if a lot of people have noticed, I have been seeing more and more multi-needle embroidery machines like on Facebook and stuff like that, because people just don't want to do it anymore. The problem also is that I see that people kind of have this misunderstanding that they feel that embroidery is easy. Okay. And I do have a video out there where I talked about the ugly truth of the embroidery. A lot of people have this perception that they think that it's like, oh, you're just going to stick a file on the machine, you're going to turn on the machine, and it's going to just do its thing. There's a lot of hard work when it comes to running your own business, and also embroidering in itself. You got to learn your stuff. You really got to know your stuff. You can't just, the machine doesn't just do the work. You got to have quality work. So do I see this industry continuing to grow? I do, but at the same time, I do feel that you're going to see a lot of people kind of like fall off the radar. I really do. I think there's going to be a lot of people out there that thought that this was something they were going to do, and they're going to fall off. Now, as for the overnight embroiderers that you're talking about, there are companies out there that can do the overnight embroidery turnaround. But a lot of these are people that are like companies that have, they have the resources, right? They have a big warehouse where they probably have about 40, 50, or 60 embroidery machines, and they're on fire, right? So they have the resources to go ahead and make that big turnaround, all right? There is, though, a little downfall with some of these companies, though, JC, which is one of the things that I kind of realized when I talk to some of my local customers, because, you could easily go to another company and you can have them do the embroidery. But sometimes what happens is they don't get that personalized customer service. And I had one doctor that talked to me because he got his medical jacket embroidered, and it was like he was on the fourth time of getting it embroidered by a company, and every time they used like the wrong color, or they jacked up the jacket for somehow, and he felt like the customer service really kind of like sucked, right? So when he found out that I lived in his neighborhood, and he was like, I heard you do embroidery. And I said, yeah. He goes, well, if I give you some doctor jackets, can you embroider them for me? And I asked him what he wanted. And I got to be honest with you, I was kind of shocked, kind of screwed the order over because it really was kind of simple. But when he told me, I gave him the color threads. I knew exactly what color he wanted. And what I did was I did a sample stitch. Now, a sample stitch I don't do on a jacket. What I do is I just get a piece of fabric and then I stitch it out, and I showed them, the customer, the sample to see what it's going to look like, right? And he liked it, and now it's like, I guess I got a customer for life, because whenever he wants a new jacket, he prefers to come to me, for the simple fact that I'm right there. I'm in the neighborhood. He can come to me with the jacket, and he knows what he's going to get, and he knows that I can do a quick turnaround. Okay. So, there is a lot of people out there, that are selling their machines because this was something they wanted to do. And this is the other thing too. There's a lot of misperceptions. It's not that people think that embroidery is just easy, because it's not, but it's also very expensive. Okay. It is not a cheap area. Okay. A lot of times people think that once you bought the machine, your cost is it. But they have no idea that there are a lot of costs that are associated with embroidery. Okay. You got hooping stations that you got to buy. Those are not cheap. Those are about $150 a pop for a mighty hoop. Okay. And you looking at a hooping station, you're probably talking about $500 right there. And then you're talking about the different types of thread and the different needles, the different bobbins. It's so much involved. So how do I feel about it? I think that it's, I think that you're going to see a lot of people kind of like drop off. A lot of people that, during the pandemic was gun ho about it. And, they kind of like now, because now the pandemic's over, now people are going right back to the office and all that kind of stuff. So they're not going to have that time anymore. And some people that thought it was going to be easy is they're just going to give up and stuff like that. But do I still see this as a profitable business? Absolutely, especially if you are in locally. You know what I'm saying? People do like to get items embroidered, and if they know that they got somebody in their neighborhood that can embroider and stuff like that, trust me, don't get rid of the machine. You're gonna want it, So anyway, I hope that answered your question, JC. I hope that helped a little bit and stuff. What is the best digitizing process you've used, or have you even tackled it? JC, I am not a digitizer. I am telling you, no, I have tried it. Not my cup of tea. Okay. I really honestly do not have a desire to be a digitizer. I like to leave digitizing to the actual experts. I am a machinist. I love my embroidery machine. I can stand there and watch that needle go up and down all day long. That is my cup of tea. I am a machinist. Okay. Do I know digitizing? I just know the basics. I just know enough to fix a file and stuff like that. And I built a really good relationship with my digitizers that if I need help, they can step in. I like to leave. That's the other thing that I find is sometimes people make a mistake. Know your limits. Know what your skill sets are and what your limits are. You can't do everything. You really can't do everything. Sometimes you have to know what to farm off in your business. And digitizing is not my cup of tea. It's not something that I want to do. I enjoy doing the actual embroidery itself. So when it comes to the digitizing part, I go to digitizers. That's where I like to go. So I did try, because I kind of thought, oh, maybe this isn't that hard. My hat is off two digitizers. Okay. To me, it was not easy. Okay. And it's a skill set. It is a skill set. But if you can master both, you can master embroidery and you know digitizing, then you're good. You're really, really good. However, I don't want to learn the digitizer. It's not my thing. It's not my field or anything like that. I don't have a desire for that. It's just I tried it. It was not my thing. Just not my thing at all. Stuff. Hey Becky, how you doing? Um, hey, but yep, there is plenty of business for embroidery. I'm telling you, Chasey, the demand is out there. It is out there. The thing is, and this is how I look at it. You really got to be passionate about what you do. You really, really do. I love embroidery. I cannot wait till I retire from the job I have today. And I love my job too. Don't get me wrong. But I think 30 years is good enough and I'm done. Give me my pension and I just want to do embroidery. And that's all I want to do. I mean, I'm very, very passionate about embroidery and stuff. So, yeah. Hey, Miss Lady, how are you? Oh, hey, Christian, how are you doing? Um, Good night. Thank you for the information sharing, always being so attentive to everyone, regardless. Oh, thanks. If your life has stopped because of your family, such a great work. Thank you, JC. I appreciate it and stuff. And keep embroidering and stuff. Enjoy your craft. And hope you can digitize too, because that would be awesome if you can do both. I mean, really, because it could save you a lot of money too if you think about it. If you can digitize plus embroidery, that means you don't have to pay a digitizer, but you got to really be good. So I know that's going to take time to really build that skill set and stuff. Hey, Angelina. Oh, thank you so much. Hey, Rita. How you doing? Hey, Kathy. Thanks. Hey, Jerlene. Hey, Annette. Oh, she had a voicemail from her mom on her phone from a long time ago. Yeah. It was something that I found, and stuff, and it felt really good to hear his voice. Yeah, so it's something that I'm definitely going to be keeping, and I'm going to be listening to it. And it really sucks. Is Father's Day is going to come soon, so this year was really hard because my dad was in the hospital during the Mother's Day month, so I wasn't able to do any embroidery or sell any embroidery. So I kind of lost a lot on sales, and then of course with this month I kind of didn't do well, but that's okay. There's always another year. There's always another year. It's okay. I mean, family comes first. And yeah, so it's gonna suck that Father's Day's coming. So, and we're gonna miss them. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. But hey, Tammy, how you doing? Um, it's hard. Yeah, it is hard to lose a loved one. It's never easy. Yeah. Oh, Becky. Yeah, it is. It's hard. It really is. And I think the only other loss I ever had in my life, before my dad passing, I think it was really like I had a boxer, a dog, and that was like the first thing in my life that ever died that I was like close to, because he was my first dog. And but I never had like a family member or anything like that died. And then now my dad. So, and that's just part of life, right? Everybody gets older, and it's like my dad said, we all have to go because we got to make room for the babies, because if nobody goes, then this will be really crowded, So, and it's true. It really is true. So, I'm just happy that he's in a better place, and stuff, and he's not suffering anymore. So, I'm okay with that, And so, oh, Jackie, thanks. Can you do a demo on patches? Valerie, I have a video on patches. I do on the channel. If you go to the channel and you type patches, you'll see. I think I did about 2 of them. Okay. And so there are videos on patches on there. Oh, thank you, Jackie. Appreciate it. Oh, Jill, thanks. I appreciate it. Hey, J Love, how you doing? I really did miss all you guys, And so, oh, thanks, Jay. I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, Shanita. How you doing? Hey, Eleanor. Oh, thank you. Hey, So Casual. Oh, thanks. Hey, Nettie. Hey, Girl for Real. Yeah, Dad's a guardian angel. He is. My dad is. He's got his wings and stuff. Okay, what is the size needle you recommend for a 60 weight thread? Hey, Soul's Casual, when you use a 60 weight thread, use the size 65.9. Okay, that's the size needle you want to use for that. Okay, you don't want a needle that's going to be punching big holes. Okay, you want, because it's a very fine needle and it's perfect for that thread. Okay, and you would do that when you're working on small fonts. Okay. Hey, Ozzy, how you doing? Thanks. Hey, Jenny. I see Margie. Dealer gave me a pocket guide for needles, and I went to their shop for my first lesson. Oh, that's pretty awesome. You know, I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna see if I can find a pocket guide for needles too. I did go to the Oregon Needles website, and they did have like a chart with the needles and stuff like that. You know, because they have different size needles and stuff, but not all of it is for embroidery. I do quilting and I do some sewing, so I get some stuff for that, you know. But it is good. It's a good idea to have a chart like that so that you know what size needle goes with what machine and what it does and stuff. So yeah, so you know what? That's a pretty good idea. Maybe what I'll do is I'll print that out and stuff and keep it by my machine and everything. Hey Charlie. Hey Miss Jax. How you doing? Um, Hey Sylvia. Oh, thank you. Hey Na Evelyn. Okay, I think I got everybody tonight. And as always, I went over the hour. But as always, you guys know how I like to roll. The first hour, I like to hit you with the topic of the night. So share whatever information I have to share with you guys. And then the rest of the night is just me hanging out with you guys, just saying hi, and make sure I answer all your questions and everything like that. So, guys, by next Friday, I should be back home in Virginia. Like I said, Sunday is the wake for my dad, and then on Monday is his service and his funeral. And then after that, I'll probably stick around maybe 1 or 2 more days, and then I'll have to go back home to Virginia and stuff. And then I'll probably come back out to Florida maybe in like, I don't know, maybe 3 months and stuff to keep checking up on my mom because this is a big life change for her. And I just, want to keep an eye on her, make sure she's okay. And I was even thinking about just sending a airline ticket to her and just having her fly out to Virginia. Maybe she could like spend like a week or two with me. And then I'll videotape her. I'll probably put her in front of those multi-needle machines and see how she does, that'll kind of be fun to watch. So, but yeah, I got a lot going on. But I do want to also say thank you so much, everybody, for all the support. And, some of you guys reached out. Some of you guys even called me, and sent me cards and all that kind of stuff. I really, really appreciate it. I don't know if my sister's going to do her live tomorrow. I'm not sure because, we got so much going on, and we are going to be having, I got like family that's coming in, that's flying in from all over for the service and stuff. Cause, everybody kind of loved my dad, I mean, he was a great person. And, we have family members that are going to start coming in starting tomorrow. So because they're coming in starting tomorrow, I'm not sure if Nancy's going to have it. I don't know if she put a link out there. If she did, that probably means that she's going to do it, which will probably be great, because I'm sure she could use that mental break, but if not, that probably means that she's got a lot going on, yeah. So, and I hear Nello scratching at my mom's door. So I better go before he leaves a mark on her door. And then grandma's going to kill the dog. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. And like I said, thank you so much for all the support and you guys reaching out. Really, really appreciate it and stuff. And like I said, I really love the embroidery family that we have built. So you guys take care. Have a great weekend. and have a great time sewing and embroidery. And once again, thank you so much. And I will see you guys next Friday with another topic. And I'll make sure to keep posting those videos as soon as I get home in Virginia. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a great night. See you guys. Bye.